What is up, fellas? Here we are, week 15, final week. Can't believe it's already here. I feel like I just did the first video a couple weeks back. So, very bummed, but also very excited for week 15. Bummed because it's already over. Uh, you know, 8 out of the 10 teams have packed their bags. Prep for next year. Keepers are already a thought. Pretty much mailed it in. Consolation games don't mean much, if anything. But also very excited because I am back in the championship game with Mr. Presbolinski himself. So new champion this year in terms of, no repeaters from last year, but I hopefully repeat as a previous champion from 2010. So I'm very excited, very happy to be back. Really, really, really want to win this one. And I just think that I think now is the night I got the team to do it. So I fingers crossed, praying to God for a victory this week. But I just wanted to recap the year, guys, and thank everybody once again. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being in the league. Without you guys, we have no league. So very happy that you guys, everybody stuck it through pretty much. There was no tanking. There was no non-rosters and stuff like that. So everybody did a great job this year. The draft obviously was phenomenal. The year, I definitely would like to try to get more people to go to that football game, like to try to get a yearly game. But this year, I think we kind of whiffed on it. I mean, we did Indy with Jobby. Brock was down there as well. But it was a successful year in my book. I think we just need to continue to try to get more fun ways to get everybody involved throughout the year. So I'm going to toy with a couple ideas. But I just want to talk about a few things before we wrap up the year in full. So as you guys know, the teams that make the playoffs this year were Joe, myself, Brock, and Aaron. Aaron defeated Brock last week, Brock and Dalton, and then I defeated Joe last week as well. So Aaron and I squaring off in the championship for the prize money and the trophy, the bragging rights for the full year. So, like I said, going to be a great matchup, guys. Plenty of points going to be in that one. Jeff called it, halfway through the year. He said it was going to be these two teams, and he was right. So Jeff, the expert, will be, calling it the two number one seeds. I feel like that hasn't happened in a while. Maybe I'm wrong, but the two number one seeds rarely make it. And Aaron really wasn't even the second best team in the league to my 10-3. It was actually Brock at 9-4 had leapfrogged Aaron at the 8-5. But with the way we shake out, we were technically the two top seeds. But throughout the year, I think I finished first in points. Aaron finished second in most points. So like I said, these are two of the best teams in the league. Actually made it to the championship, which never happens. So Aaron, good luck, and it's going to be a great week. Hopefully we can meet up and grab a beer and watch one of the games. But outside of that, guys, I think we talked about the order itself for draft. We'll be doing the lottery this Saturday coming up for the Christmas party. Most everybody will be there. So Eric, you're going to have 3 balls in the first lottery. Mike will have 2. Nico, you'll have 1. And then in the second lottery, Jeff, you'll have 3 balls for the 4th pick. Jobby with 2 and Jared with 1. And then loser of Brock and Joe's matchup this week will be the 7th pick. The winner of that game will win the $125 and be the 8th pick. And then loser of the championship game, either myself or Aaron, we will draft 9th and win the $375. And then the winner champion gets the trophy, $750 and pick number 10. So outside of that, guys, all the prize money's been collected. I'm still waiting for some transaction money from a couple owners, but they're in the championship game, so from there I can just deduct the money. The transaction money for largest margin of victory, which we thought would disperse a little bit more instead of the highest scoring teams, actually it only went to like 5 or 6 different people. I know Aaron won 4 times, I won 4 times, Joe, Jeff, Eric, Joe again, and Jobby. So, didn't really spread it out too much, as a few names didn't even get called. So we'll look at next year, looking at a couple different things, whether we do most points, largest margin of victory, highest scoring player, but that kind of just designates to quarterbacks. So I'll toy with a couple different things to try and keep people more interested. And I think potentially even raising the largest margin of victory prize money, instead of being $5, maybe 10 or 15. just because at the end of the year, most points still got quite a bit. I ended up with $191 in prize money from that. So I think we'll end up looking at, maybe doing 10 or 15 bucks just to make it a little more interesting. But outside of that, guys, keepers, as you know, aren't due way until August. But a few guys that were kept twice this year that cannot be kept again: Lamar Miller, Odell Beckham Jr., Adrian Peterson, Des Bryant, Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton, Mark Ingram, DeAndre Hopkins, and Carlos Hyde. So those names are going to be going back into the draft, just to give you guys a heads up. So outside of that, everything's been, like I said, very exciting year, very fun year. I'm pumped to be back in the championship game. And I think everybody's done a good job. Activity was pretty solid this year. We obviously dwindled down toward the end once teams realized they're out of it. But I think the great thing about this year, and I think the reason why Aaron, I think, kind of fights so hard for keeping the two divisions and the 2 seats from each, is because you think about it, Nico, Jeff, Joe were kind of all fighting for that number 2 seed well into week 11 and 12, which, we finish up in week 13. And I think our format continues to be stellar in terms of the interdivision records. Just it plays out perfect with 8 division games and 5 non-division games, giving us 13 weeks. And then we have the 2-round playoffs, and we're done week 15. Especially with a lot of teams. Considering for me as well, David Johnson, they could be resting him come week 16 and 17. He's had a lot of workload this year. Stellar player, but I think that the Cardinals, if they're out of it, could shut him down for the rest of the year. So I think the way we have it is really good. But outside of that, guys, not much to talk about. Like I said, just I don't have to recoup matchups from last week. And I can go over Brock and Aaron's matchup and mine and Joe's real quick. But last week, as you guys know, the 4 teams to make the playoffs. Neither one was really close. I defeated Joe 146-85. My team just exploded, starting with Le'Veon Bell. He had his highest scoring output of the year, maybe of his career, with 47.8. He had 3 touchdowns, 260 yards collectively. Rodgers, who I kind of second-guessed all week with the weather, put up a solid 21. And then Emmanuel Sanders with 16, and Taylor Gabriel just pick up to cover for Julio at 14. And then Justin Tucker just continues to roll with 12. I think, if Julio doesn't play this week and Tucker does, Julio will have scored less points than Justin Tucker this year for our fantasy season, which is crazy to me. And then Joe had, starting the day, Joe had, I think, his first 5 guys went for double figures, with Latavius Murray getting 16 on Thursday, Kelly getting 14.8, Demarius and Zach Ertz had, double figures as well. But then Drew Brees and Michael Evans really let him down. I expected 20 from each of them. Honestly, I expected Evans to go off, but he only had 4.2 and Brees had 4.5. So from there, Joe, there was really nobody Joe could have started that, would have made it a little closer. Maybe Deshaun Jackson and Tevin Coleman, but those are tough starts. But on to Aaron and Brock's matchup. That one was a little closer, with Aaron scoring 84.5 to Brock's 65. Brock just couldn't really get much going. Had some tough starts. Russell Wilson played like shit, had 5.5, with Matt Ryan on his bench going for 21. So adding in the, 16-point difference. He's still only at 81, but it does make it a hell of a lot closer and a lot scarier for him. Obviously, he had mentioned starting Tyreek Hill over Brandon Marshall, which I think if he would have made those 2 flips, he would have beat Aaron. But, I don't need to throw salt in the wound. He knows that. But Jimmy Graham only getting him 1.6. Mark Ingram shit in the bed for him at 2.3. McCoy started out great. Frank Gore with a touchdown. Devontae Adams had a first catch, was a 70-yard touchdown. So, there were some things to look forward to. But Aaron, just consistency throughout. He had Lamar Miller, who I loved at the beginning of the year with his playoff schedule. Miller at 18.2, and he's got a great matchup this week. And then he also had Odell Beckham, who, none other to carry a team in the playoffs. Brock knows best. Odell had 15.4, and then Aaron got 16.4 from Stafford. But looking at me and Aaron's matchup this week, like I said, 2 Titans going at it. A lot of scoring, I feel like. Looking at the matchups, I have Rodgers at Chicago. Going to be a cold day, so I don't expect huge numbers, especially with Rodgers hampered. I'm really hoping for a 20-burger, but I'll be happy with like 16 to 18, honestly. At David Johnson against New Orleans at home. and then Le'Veon Bell with Cincinnati. I got Emmanuel Sanders against New England, who's tough against the pass. Sammy Watkins against Cleveland is going to be my wild card, I think, at this point. I'm really not sure if he's really going to produce, if they're going to kind of keep him on a snap count. Not 100% sure. But Greg Olsen at Washington, like I said, toss up. Hopefully he can get a touchdown. And then Edelman against Denver, I'm not pumped about, but I'm banking on him hopefully not having to play. I can just keep Julio in. But Julio with the toe, not looking great. So going to probably roll the dice with Edelman and just go for it. And then obviously, hopefully, Bill's defense can give me some luck, maybe a touchdown. And then I have going up against Aaron. His matchups are obviously stellar as well. He's got Lamar at Jacksonville, Mariota at Kansas City, who can't stop the pass. Ezekiel Elliott against Tampa Bay, who's played well as of late, but I'm expecting a huge game. He came off kind of a dud game his last, so I expect Ezekiel Elliott to pick it up. I has Golden Tate against the Giants. Odell Beckham's going to destroy Detroit. That's an easy 20-burger for him. Ty Montgomery's a wild card at Chicago, but he has been getting touches kind of all over the place, so I expect him to kind of be a big weapon, especially with Jordy probably getting most of the attention. And then he has Vikings D against Indy, who's a turnover machine, so I expect the Vikings to do pretty well there. And then Delaney Walker at Kansas City, I think, is going to be another big one. So outside of that, guys, those are the matchups this week. I'm projected to win 116-96, but like we know, projections suck. So we'll just have to roll from there. But we'll be talking kind of through the weekend, especially at the Christmas party, and kind of go from there. But thank you guys once again. I just wanted a big shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for making it such a good year, great fun year. Look forward to having everybody back next year. Not too many changes on the docket for next year, as I'm thinking we're probably just going to raise the entry fee to probably 150, maybe then 175 the next and 200 the following. But 150 probably looking good for next year. And then outside of that, guys, similar draft to what we'll do, looking for individuals to volunteer to host. So please, if you're interested in hosting, by all means, please host. Champion will obviously take care of the board. We have everything else in terms of the podium and the backdrop. But guys, yeah, once again, thanks for a phenomenal year. That's about all I got. So this is probably be the last video of the year. I'll probably do a recap video next week for the champion, a little congratulatory to whoever wins, and then we will take it from there and take a hiatus until about July. So, all right, fellas, once again, thank you. Have a great evening. Have a Merry Christmas. Great holiday. Drive safe. Travel safely. And everybody have a happy and great Christmas and New Year's. Enjoy time with your family. So, and love some football. So have a good year, guys, and we'll see you later.